What's up, guys? Derek here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with our last episode in our Secret Tech series. This will be for colorless, as you can see by the title up here. It will be for our top 10 colorless secret tech. So these will be cards that basically will fill a hole in a deck that maybe that color doesn't necessarily have. So we'll go over them as we come across them. But let's take a look what we have. First up, we'll start with these artifacts right here. They're mostly artifacts anyways, but these are the non-creature artifacts. First up is NIM Death Metal. NIM Death Metal is an equipment for 2 mana that you can equip for 4, and it says equip creature gets +2/+2, has Intimidate, and is in Black Zombie. So not bad abilities all in all anyways, but what really makes it special in our eyes is its ability that says whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 4. If you do, return that card to the battlefield and attach it to NIM Death Metal. So basically what this does is this gives you an instant speed res in any color. Generally, res is something that would happen in, and for the most part, white and black, not really the other colors for the most part. But this lets you do it at instant speed when the creature dies for 4 mana. So if you watch a lot of our deck techs, I include this in a lot of decks because it's a good combo piece with Ashnod's Altar, where you can sacrifice a creature for 2 mana, sacrifice another creature for 2 mana to go ahead and res that creature. Very, very cool. It's always good to be able to do that, to have a nice combo piece. That's more or less why we have it in here, is that it does give the +2/+2 and Intimidate, which is great if you have an offensive general or offensive strategy, but just mostly that it gives you the ability to have that combo piece or res in any color you need. Up next we have Planar Portal. This is a 6 mana artifact that you can pay 6, tap it, search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library. So basically it's giving you a tutor in any color for 6 mana every turn. And that's a pretty nice ability because late game in EDH you can generally produce quite a bit of mana rather easily. So this is going to let you have the ability to have a tutor every single turn. And that in itself is very powerful. Up next we have Predator Flagship. This is a 5-cost legendary artifact that says pay 2, target creature gains flying until end of turn, and you can pay 5 and tap it to destroy target creature with flying. So really this is a twofold artifact. On one side you can go ahead and give some of your creatures flying and then use that to be able to go on the offensive. On the defensive side of it, for 7 mana you can destroy a creature every single turn. And that is also very, very nice because something like blue and red and green don't necessarily have just a lot of creature kill. Now red does have burn, green has things like Beast Within, but only 1 or 2 spells is pretty much a black ability or a white ability to be able to destroy creatures right off the get-go. So being able to get that kind of ability out of any color is pretty nice. Up next we have Ring of 3 Wishes. This is a 5-cost artifact. It says Ring of 3 Wishes enters the battlefield with 3 wish counters on it. And you can pay 5, remove a wish counter from Ring of 3 Wishes to search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library. So this is very similar with the idea of with Planar Portal, that it gives you the ability to have a tutor in any color. Pretty much something only black does for the most part, but this gives that ability to any of them. Why I included this one as well as Planar Portal is that Planar Portal is just straight up 6 mana for a tutor. This is only 5 mana and 5 to cast, so your first tutor will be cheaper, but you can only do it 3 times. But there's plenty of ways to flicker artifacts and kill artifacts, bounce them to your hand, recast it, and be able to reuse it again. So it's a little different than Planar Portal, but redundancy is always nice in EDH. When you have 99 cards, you want to get the most out of your cards. So having 2 of the same abilities, say you're playing blue, being able to have 2 different tutors will be very nice. So for some creatures, we have Dross Scorpion. He's one of my very, very favorite creatures. He's a 4-cost 3/1 that says whenever Dross Scorpion or another artifact creature is put into a graveyard from play, you may untap target artifact. He's basically just a combo player's dream, There's many artifacts out there that tap for abilities, and then you tap them for their ability, maybe sacrifice one of your artifact creatures, and then go ahead and untap the artifact you just used, and then tap it again to do whatever you need to do. What I like to use this with in conjunction with Mirror Turbine and Ashnod's Altar, and that will give you infinite mana because you tap the Mirror Turbine for a artifact creature, which is the Mirror, sacrifice it to Ashnod's Altar for 2 mana, which will kick off his ability because a creature died, and then you go ahead and untap the Mirror Turbine and then tap the Mirror Turbine again to rinse and repeat, thereby generating infinite colorless mana. And then from there you can do whatever you need to do with infinite colorless mana. Then we have Epitaph Golem. He's a 5-cost 3/5 Golem that says for 2 mana, put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. It's very nice, at the end of your opponent's turn, if you're not playing black or white to have the res and you're playing like red or blue and you want to be able to cycle your cards back into your library, you can go ahead and this is reusable, which is what really makes it nice, is that it is so reusable and such a cheap mana cost to pay to do it. But at the end of your opponent's turn, invest, 6, 8, 10 mana, put a bunch of cards from the bottom right back into your library, and that's pretty nice. You can also use it to dodge removal. Someone tries to exile a couple cards out of your graveyard, you can go ahead and in response put them on the bottom of your library. That's pretty cool. Up next we have Mindless Automaton. He's a 4-cost 0/0 construct, but he says Mindless Automaton enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters, so essentially he's a 4-cost 2/2. And he says remove 2 counters from Mindless Automaton to draw a card, and you can pay 1, discard a card to put a +1/+1 counter on him. He's just nice because you can use him to draw cards, and we all know there's many ways out there to be able to go ahead and abuse creatures and be able to recur them and recur them and recur them. And then if you put him in the right deck that you're going to be having a lot of +1/+1 counterplay, like a Agave deck, you can use him to really generate a lot of card draw, and that is very helpful. And then we have Workhorse. Workhorse is a 6-cost 0/0, but it says Workhorse comes into play with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. And you can remove a counter from Workhorse to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Play this ability only as a mana source. Basically, 6-cost 4/4. You can remove a counter to add a mana to your mana pool. Very cool. This can also be used in a number of ways to generate infinite mana, because abusing creatures is always fun. But that's more or less why he's on the list. Just his abusability and what he does is pretty cool. Yeah, he's just a really nice card. I do like, though, going back to him, that if you look inside of his belly, you can more or less see colored mana. When you remove the 1/1 counters, like if you look inside of his belly there, you see the orbs, the green, blue, and red orbs. But if you remove the counters, you get colorless mana. I just think that's something that's a little funny. And then we have some instants here. We have Scour from Existence. It's a 7-cost instant that says exile target permanent. This is really on the list because this gives some removal to be able to exile any permanent to every color, and the fact that you can access that with every color is friggin' awesome. Green and blue and red have predominantly not been able to deal with a lot of things. Blue has a lot of bounce, but not a lot of exile. This even gives black a way to deal with enchantments and artifacts that they normally couldn't, so this is just a powerful spell, and the cost for the 7 mana makes sense because you're getting such a good ability on any color. And lastly, we have Spatial Contortion. This is another thing we're talking about with giving abilities to other colors that they don't normally have. For 2 mana, it says target creature gets +3/-3 until end of turn. I mean, it's basically the exact same thing as Nameless Inversion, but in colorless. You can put it into any color. Give green some removal, give blue some removal. It's pretty powerful to be able to give those abilities to other colors. But that rounds out our 10 cards, so to go over them again, we had NIM Death Metal for some combo stuff, Planar Portal for tutoring, Predator Flagship for removal and combat tricks, Ring of 3 Wishes for tutoring, Draw Scorpion, basically just a combo piece, Epitaph Golem to be able to cycle your graveyard back into your library and to dodge graveyard hate, Mindless Automaton for combo and card draw, Workhorse for combo and infinite mana, or combo into infinite mana rather, Scour from Existence for some nice exile across any color, and Spatial Contortion to be able to go ahead and give that removal to any color. So those are the 10 cards we came up with for our colorless. This has been Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you later. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.